This episode is brought to you by TaxAct. Don't do your taxes alone. Join TaxAct's National Admin Night. Admin nights are social gatherings for getting through your to-do list. So get ready for a night of fun, finding deductions, and filing taxes with TaxAct, where you can file your federal and state return for just $49 through April 8. Let's get together and get them over with. Visit taxact.com/admin-night for details.
Hello, listeners. Thank you so much for listening to our show. You can take your listening further and support our work by becoming a member. Members receive an ad-free listening experience, members-only bonus content, an invitation to join the DSR Network Slack community, a members-only newsletter, and members-only blog posts. For the month of February, take 10% off the regular membership price. Visit thedsrnetwork.com/buy and enter code SECRET. That's thedsrnetwork.com/buy, code SECRET. Thank you.
Welcome to The Secret Life of Cookies, where we try to solve the world's problems through the miracle of carbohydrates, one recipe at a time, with host Marissa Rothkopf and her dog, Bosco.
Hello, and welcome to The Secret Life of Cookies. My guest today is the wonderful Anushay Hossain, best-selling author and host of the Spilling Chai podcast, where she talks about politics, women's health, and race, just as we're going to do here today. We'll also do a little therapeutic baking of butterscotch chocolate chip cookies. You can find the recipe on my Substack at marissarothkopf.substack.com, and thank you so much for joining us today. Here's a bit of housekeeping just before we start, which is, if you can take a minute, please leave a review of the podcast on the Apple Podcast site. The more reviews, the easier it gets for people to find the podcast. And more people listening to the podcast means more people informed about what's going on in the world who are also baking and eating cookies. You know, like Burt Bacharach, may he rest in peace, said, "What the world needs now." On with the show. Hello, and welcome to The Secret Life of Cookies. My guest today is the brilliant Anushay Hossain, who comes to us from her very beautiful and very beautifully coordinated kitchen. Usually you can find her hovering over a steaming computer where she is writing her brilliant Substack, which launched at the beginning of this year. I recommend heartily that everyone subscribe to it, not just because she's my guest and standing in front of me right now, and I really want to pander to her, but also because, because it is a brilliant, brilliant Substack, which makes me think, it makes me ponder what it means to be female. And because you've written this brilliant book called The Pain Gap, How Sexism and Racism Affect Healthcare in this country, a lot of that, those issues are brought up in your Substack. And I don't think it's anything we can ignore, which is a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. But we're going to take a step back and talk about something much less stressful, which is baking.
For you. By the way, side note, guys, Marissa dragged me kicking and screaming, not to her podcast, but to the kitchen where I have never held these in my hand. I just want to eat.
She has beautiful, like light, what we call that color, sea foam.
Yeah.
Matching cups and teaspoons, which I just feel shame that I don't have such beautiful things, but maybe someday. We're also going to prove a point today that the chocolate chip cookie recipe is so flexible that I'm going to make a chocolate chip cookie that's chewy with butterscotch chips. And because Miss Hossain did not happen to have brown sugar in her kitchen this morning, which is fine. It's fine.
Bad student.
She's going to be making hers solely with white sugar. And with the addition of honey in hers, I'm going to add Lyle golden syrup in mine. We're going to pump up the flavor in mine, but also some of the chewiness in hers will come from that honey. It'll help make it a little less crisp. Yours will be crisp, mine will be chewy. But the key to both of them, will be butterscotch chips and chocolate chips, because in my recipe, if I weren't doing it right here in front of you, I would also brown the butter in advance because I'm fancy like that. And also with the butterscotch, I think it adds a really nice caramelly note enhancer. And it makes me talk like this. So I'm going to start stirring my sugar into my butter. And I would recommend to do the same. The nice thing about this recipe is because we use melted butter, you can do it all by hand, just like grandma used to.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to use this thing, which I've never used, and I hope it doesn't break. The mixer?
No, I wouldn't use it. I would use just a wooden spoon. Yeah.
I got everything nicely set up for him.
Oh, it's really pretty.
Okay, can't use it, Mom. Fine.
Anushay, I'm trying to make a point here for the nice listeners out there.
You can find a spoon, a wooden spoon.
A wooden spoon's nice. If you have a spatula, that's good too.
Oh, a spatula. Okay, good. That is what I have, and it's wooden.
See, it's really old-fashioned and homespun. You said to me that there was something that stressed you out about cooking, and I wanted about baking. You're a fantastic cook. You're telling me what you're making this weekend. It sounds like your family's a very lucky family, and I hope they cook for you sometime too, because you're very busy. But you said that baking stresses you out, and I think it might be one of the reasons that it stresses lots of people out. What is that, Miss? Let's talk about this today on Dr. Rothkopf's baking therapy.
Oh my goodness. That should be a total spin-off sideshow. It's the exactness. Like I almost just messed up. Like I thought it was 2.5 cups and I messed up like the baking soda, and then it was like a quarter. And then she said, we'll just make it up with another half quarter. And already I'm like, oh, I'm like that meme on Instagram, that pre-calculus flashbacks.
Well, I'm going to prove to you that it has nothing.
I would much rather talk about maternal health, and maternal mortality is less stressful for me. I think you are uncovering a lot of issues.
But also, I think you said that you didn't like to mess.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's what it was. So this is a new thing that we just hit the nail on the head today. Because as I'm trying to focus on the exact amounts of butterscotch and whatnot. By the way, I'm going to dump in the bags of butterscotch.
Totally. That is the way to cook them. People are like, tell me, should I put it in a cup? I'm like, you put in as many as your eyeballs say you should.
See? But yes, I just noticed anyway, you guys, I don't even know if I should show you, but there's all this crap in front of me. And now I have this big mixer I'm not even using. And all I want to do is just stop and clean up. I'm one of those people.
No, the first thing that you learn in cooking school is the phrase clean as you go.
Oh, but I can't, that's what I normally do, but I can't clean as I go because of the baking. Like I'm not really going.
That's true. So, but once you can measure out all the things in advance in pretty little bowls, you could get pretty little bowls. And then you can put all the flour away, all the sugar away, everything can be away, and it can just be you.
Out of sight, yeah.
And your lovely mise en place. And it's French word for like putting everything in its place. So it even sounds elegant.
That's true.
Okay,
so what am I doing? Okay, I am stirring.
You're just stirring. You're stirring. And once you're done, once it's all a uniform sort of thing, we're going to add the eggs in. You have 2 whole eggs. I am adding a whole egg and an egg yolk to enhance the chewiness of it all. And I'm also going to add in 3 tablespoons of, I'm using Lyle golden syrup because I'm married to a British man and it's delicious.
Oh, I know.
And you can put in 3 tablespoons of honey. And if measuring honey makes you want to like throw something at me, just put 3 blobs of honey in there.
Perfect. 3 blobs of honey. And what about a vanilla extract? That's going to come later?
You can put the vanilla extract in now if you'd like.
I would love that. Was it again?
I put in 2 teaspoons also because you have the butterscotch chips. We're really trying to go for a sort of caramel flavor.
Yes, 2 teaspoons.
So I'm going to stir, and once I'm going to ask you a few questions. Like one of the reasons that I'm, aside from the fact that I just like spending time with you and want to get you over your fear of cookie baking.
Can we do martinis next time?
Can you do what?
Can we do martinis next time?
Totally.
Let's do an episode on day drinking. Just kidding, Marissa. Okay, I'm going to put
she's just kidding people. No letters, please. Let's dive directly into the deep end, which is this week, an article came out in the New York Times about mortality in babies. It was out of a study, infant mortality and maternal mortality. It was a study based out of California, where they have what I would consider the best healthcare system in the United States. I've granted, like in the United States, it's not saying a whole lot because, but
bar is low.
They do. Yeah, the bar is low. But there were some really incredibly there was some not surprising and yet still shocking, if that can be such a thing, information that came out of this. Do you want to just catch those of us up to speed about it?
Yeah. So, what is really interesting about maternal mortality and maternal health in America is that really post-COVID, we really have now the statistics and the data to back what women and women's health experts have been saying for a really long time. And what's really great about the study that came out is for a really long time, people used to say really racist things because of maternal mortality in America. There's a massive discrepancy between Black people and white people. And it's always like this in pretty much every situation, but the starkest differences are always between white people and Black people. And when it comes to maternal mortality, which is the number of women dying giving birth in America, which really should be at zero, we often hear the statistic, that women of color and Black women especially are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth than their white counterparts. And pre-COVID, people used to say really racist things to explain that gap. They'd be like, well, it's an education issue and Black people are less educated or they're welfare queens. And then this study came out that said that college-educated Black women are 5 times more likely to die giving birth than their white counterparts. When we hear these numbers, it sounds like a lot, but that discrepancy when we hear that Black women are 3 times more likely to die giving birth is 243% more likely. So these are huge. So it's not just like I say this in my book, because people always love to say, well, is it just a one-off? Well, maybe it's that one woman story. And you really, when you look at the statistics and the data, you really just have to be someone who is blind to not be like, what is the role that race and racism is playing in these deaths? Because in America, sadly, everything comes down to race. And the study yesterday basically laid out that it's not racism, it's not race, but racism that's driving these discrepancies, because now we have new data from this groundbreaking, expansive study that shows that rich Black families are still more likely to die, Black mothers and their babies, than the poorest white women. So it really, I really encourage everyone to go to my Substack or go to the New York Times, because a lot of what I wrote yesterday was just laying the data out. It's just insane. And it's so disturbing. I don't even know what to say. It's so sad. And one last thing I'll say, as even my cookie dough is starting to look sad. One last thing that I will say is that what is maternal mortality and why am I always harping on and on about it? It's not just the number of women dying in childbirth. Maternal mortality is recognized as an indicator by the World Health Organization of women's overall position in society, how well the country's healthcare system is working. So America's maternal mortality numbers tell us a lot. First of all, it's a solvable crisis. It's a preventable crisis. These are needless deaths. And I think if white women were dying at the rate that Black women are, I feel like we would have had an intervention right now, or something a little bit faster.
Bit faster, right. And if it were white men dying at these rates, well,
God,
I hate to.
White men could even get their periods. And can you imagine national emergency? But what did I read that they would get like 10 days paid, 10 days paid off? What? 10 days off paid every month to deal with their menstrual cycles. Yeah.
Anyhow, I think this statistic, unfortunately, the reason that it makes a lot more people look up and go, oh my God, is because it's wealthy women.
Yeah.
And we've been able to go, oh, well, poor people, they've got their poor people problems. We should sort of ignore that. That's just going to be a thing. Like you were saying in your book, that's the way it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
What is what causes it? I mean, I get that it's racism, but like, when an African-American woman goes to the hospital, I mean, Serena Williams and Beyonce both had really awful complications. You'd think that the best of the staff were there to take care of them. But Serena Williams said that like people were not paying attention to her symptoms.
People were not believing her. So it's very easy to just say racism, but you also have to look at it. It's not just racism. It's also sexism. This issue all women have. Women of color always have to be like, wait, are you this guy sexist or is this guy racist or is he both? But all women have to deal with, my book is called The Pain Gap, but I also talk in it about the credibility gap, right? Mm-hmm. Women are not believed, period. They're not believed about their pain. They're not believed about their bodies. Mm-hmm. And, anything about our bodies. Like if we've been raped, if we've been groped, oftentimes women don't believe each other. And
absolutely, which is tremendous. I mean, women go behind each other's back to, well, I mean, the way she was,
So much. It's so interesting because even when I was doing my research for my book, the majority of women around the world have been told that they are imagining something or it's all in their head. And the majority of women almost always were not imagining it. It always ended up being like a tumor or a cancer. This one, it was just in the Washington Post a couple of months ago. This one woman was suffering from such huge migraines. Everybody told her she was stressed and depressed.
Oh, God.
She had a tumor the size of a volleyball, they said. Finally, she found a doctor that believed her. Padma Lakshmi was told for decades that she had bad periods and a low threshold for pain. And it turned out she had stage 4 endometriosis. By the time she found a specialist who believed her, who ran the tests. So a lot of it is just,
and she's no schlub, right? Like she's a woman, she has all like the characteristics you would want in a great patient. She speaks up for herself. She's poised. She's beautiful. I mean, I don't mean to like poke at all the, different things that impact us, but you get a lot more attention from people.
Because you ask for a more like good looking, perfect patient, which is what a lot of women try to be.
She has the money to go to every Park Avenue doctor there is, if you know what I mean.
And so does Beyonce and so does Serena Williams. And Serena Williams, what's so frustrating about her story is not only was she right, but she's one of the top paid athletes in the world. Like she is paid to know her body. She has had these issues with clots in her lungs before. She was saying that something was wrong. Her coughing was wrong. She knew exactly what she needed. They were like, pain meds are making you confused. And she almost died. And her stitches came out because she was coughing so much. Anyway, then it just goes on and on. So the other problem that really is what happened is, giving birth in America has become a business. The C-section rate, it's not one thing. I think racism is a big part of it, but it's so many things. Okay. We have increased the C-section rate in America by 500% in the past generation. We're the only developed country one of the only countries in the world, forget even developed or industrialized, that doesn't give paid paternal leave. We expect women to have this insane surgery. It's a major surgery, by the way. People always say, oh, C-section is so much easier. I used to say that. I almost died twice, but it's a major surgery. They have to cut through 7 layers. And when it's an emergency season, they do that crap really fast. And then you're supposed to be back at work technically in 2 weeks. So it's that.
2 weeks? That's insanity.
A lot of people have to go. I had 3 months paid. I was working at a women's rights nonprofit, but so many people I know had to do that. Obviously, the bigger your job, the more famous you are. But no company in America is allowed to legally give you paid time off. It doesn't exist. I also think a big thing that has happened is that we are the most litigious country in the world. And I think hospitals are businesses. You make a lot more money out of C-sections and you want people to just hurry up and get out. And I feel like we've gotten to the point that we're more scared of being sued. We'd rather let you die. So a lot of these women are not dying at the hospital. They're dying once they leave.
Really?
So because the postpartum period, people think is just like 6 weeks, you get that 6-week visit. That's really about if you can have sex again or not, right?
Yeah. No.
Most women are not thinking about that. That is such a male.
Exactly. You can have sex again. Thanks.
I know.
And you can get pregnant. Great. Okay. Yeah.
It's just so interesting about what we're allowing with women's health. And it doesn't just come down to our abilities to reproduce. But there is an obsession with women's pregnancy, I feel like, in America. I'm going to see with everything that's happening with, obviously, with abortion and Roe being overturned. So,
and this sort of idea of the woman having a place that is part of certain religious culture in this country.
But we think that we will. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it. The evangelical Christians who have taken their time to are sort of running a lot of this country ideologically, unfortunately, are having a huge impact on it.
They are. And hey, a lot of those people that they support are in our government right now. I mean, what is going on? But the other thing that is really interesting, and I don't just want to like crap down on America. I just feel like everything in this country is about money, making money and doing it really, really fast. I mean, who cares about women's health and rights? That's what really, really hurts my heart, is that this is a preventable crisis. It's completely unnecessary and preventable. And yet we're not investing any, like, I'm really glad that report came out, but the numbers are increasing and getting worse. Like, this crisis is not getting better. It's actually getting worse. But I also think that the pandemic gave us a huge opportunity. You know, I'm very positive about this, to reimagine health and health care in America. I mean, I think that during the early days of the pandemic, a lot of people around the world were shocked to see how our healthcare system works. Shocked to see the richest democracy in the world, like, brought to our knees like that. But, you know, every country in the world was, but I think people were shocked in America that, yes, we'd rather let you die on the street. If you're not insured, you know, hospitals will put you out on the street. So, yeah. And it all comes down to that. We have such a complicated insurance system, such a complicated healthcare system, but we have all these expertise and knowledge, but it's so inaccessible to the majority of people. I think that's why yesterday's report is also really shocking, because people would be like, oh, in America, come on, the richest will get access to the best always. I mean, it's money, yes, but no, not if you're Black. But so for every other group, yes.
Does it come down to, like, are doctors also not trained the way that they should be in listening skills?
Listening, but also, why don't we give women more options? Like, if you look at the history of this, like, there was a point at the turn of the century where America went from, you know, home births and midwifery to white doctors in white jackets in hospitals. Hospitals were presented as the clean, safe place to give birth. Prior to that, it was really Black and brown women, immigrant women, who had brought, slave women who had brought, you know, their knowledge of midwifery. And now it's so funny. We are literally going backwards. Now people are saying that, you know, we have to have more midwives and more midwifery trainings, more women stay alive. As soon as you enter the hospital, they want you to have a C-section. It's just like intervention after intervention. And so many things I didn't even know while it was happening to me. And mind you, when I was dying in childbirth in America, at one of the best hospitals in the Washington, D.C. area, I still didn't believe it. I kept telling myself, I'm in America, Washington, I'm not going to die. Everybody else was, you know, preparing for the worst. So I don't think it's one thing, like our doctors not doing that. It's the whole system. Can you
tell us, just give us a little backstory? What happened to you that you ended up close to death in a Washington, D.C. hospital?
Well, first of all, I was a feminist policy analyst.
Yeah, let's give a little background.
So I was like working in global health, women's health, global health legislation. And I had no idea, this was in 2011, that anybody died giving birth in America. I still can't believe I had no idea. I can't believe my bosses, we never even talked about that. Yep. We're always trying to fix maternal mortality in Afghanistan or in Bangladesh. But I had no idea what was happening, like literally behind the White House. But anyhow, I had a pretty great pregnancy and I went to deliver, and, you know, I was in labor for 33 hours. And when it was, you know, I tried to push, the baby's not coming out. And they decided to do an emergency C-section. But, actually before that, that's what happened. Every time I think of it, I'm just like, I'm still processing my trauma.
Yeah, I'm sorry to like.
No, even though I've written a book about it, I'm just like, every time I talk about it, I just get so mad at this one doctor. No, but anyhow, I had wanted epidural. So I had wanted pain management right away, and they had hooked me up to my epidural, and everything was really painful. Like, I just felt like I could feel everything. So I kept asking for more epidural. And then finally they said that I was past the legal limit and they can't give me anymore. And I was like, but something is wrong. Like I'm in a lot of pain. I can feel everything. Then I have like 104 fever. I'm shaking. Have to take me in for an emergency C-section. And the doctor who was going to do they roll me in on the stretcher, Marissa, and this doctor doesn't believe me. Okay.
You have 104 fever. What's not to believe?
And and he wants me to get up from the stretcher onto the operating table on my own. And I'm literally like, I can't. But he didn't believe me. He didn't believe my pain. And then finally, when I literally, like, I have a baby stuck between my legs, I'm shaking. I have been in labor for 33 hours. People think that you just like, your water bursts and the baby comes out. No, guys, girls at home. It was on and on. Labor can last for 24. Some people are in it for like 72 hours. But anyhow, so finally he's like, okay, fine, I believe you. He literally said that to me. And
what? Does this guy still have a medical license?
You know, God, I wish I think about him every day. I wish I had sued this man. And you can see how, like, you know, I don't have any problem tapping into my anger. But I became so nice, Marissa. I was so nice and polite to this man. I think about this effer every day. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But it's so crazy because it took me so long to think about that. And just last year, I think, after my book came out, I was like, hey, was that guy being racist towards me? Was it because I was just like this brown Muslim woman? Or was it because he hates women? Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. And I think the answer is both. He was racist and sexist.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
You know you need fiber for a healthy gut, but do you actually know how to get it? Quaker's been serving up fiber since 1877, with over 100 great-tasting, good source of fiber options to choose from. Whether you like old-fashioned oats, instant oatmeal, granola, or oatmeal squares, Quaker makes it delicious. So good. Get your fiber with Quaker. Shop Quaker's good source of fiber products at a store near you.
That's a lovely combination in a doctor. It's what I look for. I go to topdocs.com and I go, which one is racist and sexist?
But you know what? There's a great new app actually called the Earth app by Kimberly Seals-Allers. And it's like a Yelp where predominantly Black women, but women of color go and they tell you about their experiences at the hospital. So like,
what's it called? Tell us again.
The Earth app, IRTH. It's one of the top apps.
IRTH. Okay.
Earth. Because they want to take the bias and the B out of birth. So it's so great now what's happening. I'm very, very hopeful because women are talking, women are sharing notes. When I started research for my book, it's incredible what women don't talk about, Marissa, and what we keep to ourselves. Like, and you know what? I know why we don't tell our stories, because nobody believes us.
Nobody believes us, but is there also another thing going on, which is this need to be perfect and need to...
We feel a lot of shame. And I think
I should be able to squat and the baby pop out. And if I'm not, that I'm somehow not right. It's in the same way, like if I eat cookies, I am simplifying it, but like literally, like if I eat cookies, then I'm weak. I should only be able to have to eat cauliflower because that makes me better. We have this sort of false sanctimony that we want to, like, as a religion. And I as a, like a personal religion. And I think it really drives a lot of that. But
no, it does. I mean, we feel like it's our fault. It's the same way we've been sexually assaulted. Like, what did I do? Did I ask for it? But it's not women just thinking or feeling like that. We're made to feel like that. We're told it was our fault. I mean, we're just starting to dismantle rape culture, I think, in the last 10 years. You know,
but still
people say, you know, what was she wearing instead of why did he rape her or why did he?
I mean,
her?
Donald Trump, when told that he, like, you know, that by E. Jean Carroll that he raped her, he's like, I wouldn't rape her. She's ugly. Yeah, she's ugly.
She's ugly. Really? Oh. And you know what? A lot of people were like, yeah, that's a good point, buddy. By the way, I love Eva Carroll. She is a personal hero of mine.
She would get along like 3 houses on fire.
My tweets on Twitter, and I'm like,
Eugene, are you listening? Oh, that looks good. That looks good.
So true. Now what? The chocolate chips and stuff?
Did you add the flour?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
The flour and the butter and the baking soda and stuff was done take 1.
Okay. Awesome. And then I would dump in an entire bag Toll House butter. I'm using Toll House butterscotch, artificially flavored morsels, and I love every artificial flavor in them. I'm just telling you that.
Butterscotch and I go way back.
Yep. It's such a, I don't know.
Childhood, real.
Totally. And then I also add in a half a bag of chocolate chip. This is a very chip heavy cookie. And I'm not apologizing for that because I also think women apologize too much. I'm sorry to say it, but I think women apologize too much.
Oh my God, can we talk about that? And we both ended up apologizing to each other today. And I'm about to apologize again because I keep looking at the camera, the old habit I have, instead of looking at you.
Oh, it's
looking
okay.
at the viewer at home.
I'm going to pause 1 second and make a terrible noise, which is ripping parchment paper, which saves in cleanup. I'm going to start scooping out my cookies because I'd like to eat one burningly hot before we leave. So I've stirred them all in. The butterscotch chips have a strange way of sort of resisting being incorporated in the dough. The dough's a little buttery, but
you didn't think this was information to spill earlier?
No, this is good. It's all good. It will all be good. I'm going to make these and I'm going to send them to my daughter at college because she loves butterscotch chips.
I'm going to make these and send them to you. And then
I will taste test them. So let's quickly talk just off the top of your head. You say it's a solvable crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to know, in 5 minutes or less. No, what do we have to do? I think IRTH sounds like a brilliant Yelp-like solution. But what else can we do? Like
there's
on
so many
basic level, what can we do in hospitals? Which I think,
first of all, I think that we should do something to consciously reduce our C-section rate. I know why hospitals and doctors most of the time don't want to do this because you make, I think, like $5,000 from a natural birth and about $50,000 from each C-section birth. I think we should consciously try it because no one is really talking about that. But if you go to a freaking surgeon, he's going to cut you up. That's what he's trained to do. So I think we have to do something about the C-section rate. I also think we should give parental leave. I think we should offer women, I think we should get insurance companies to cover doulas, midwives. A lot of people who want those options are not covered by their insurance. So once again, there's like a financial barrier. There's also childcare. Have more, I feel like, on-site childcare. People want women in America to, I've read this quote and it's so true, work like you don't have kids and then parent like you don't have a job. And it's just becoming kind of impossible.
It is impossible. Go on. Yeah.
I also think we should prioritize women's health and include more women in clinical trials. I mean, while I was writing about, there's a pain gap, there's a credibility gap. There's a massive freaking knowledge gap. And this really pisses me off because the NIH, the National Institute of Health in the United States of America.
My tax dollars at work. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't even have a mandate. The FDA and NIH didn't even have a mandate to include women in their clinical trials until 1991. And by the way, things have not gotten better. And in real time, while I was writing this book, as I'm discovering this knowledge gap and I'm getting so angry, the COVID vaccine trials happened, arguably the most anticipated vaccine of our lifetime. And we saw women excluded in real time. It was unbelievable to me. We make up 70% of the world's healthcare workers, 70% in America. The pandemic fell on our backs. All women, whether you're mothers or not. And if you're mothers, my God, it was the worst. It's the worst. It was trapped at home with your children and you have to do everything and your tech support. And we were excluded from those trials. It happened in front of everybody. And we knew from the get-go that the virus, COVID was more, coronavirus was more dangerous in pregnancy. We knew that pregnant women would have more painful deaths, more likely to die. But still, we were like, the fetus. I don't know. Just who cares? And and there's even a mice patriarchy. Did we talk about this?
No.
Whole other thing. So even the majority of mice that we are testing on, lab mice, lab rights are male. So what the heck? It's like a bunch of white dudes And then they're testing like a bunch of male
white male mice. It's white mice too.
It's almost so it's not just, it was a racist experience while I was giving birth. It's the entire system. But what I also think is actually a little depressing, even though I'm hopeful about it, is that the system is actually working. Like our legal system, like so many, our justice system, the system is working. It's supposed to value white lives more. White male voices have so much authority. I can't believe I ended up writing this book because I was definitely raised to never, ever question white men about anything. So I feel like the system is working, but America is changing. America is changing. Women are speaking up. Women of color are speaking up. Immigrants, we're increasing. Don't get scared, Fox News people.
Uh-oh. I've just lost those 3 viewers.
Tucker is not coming back on your show.
Tucker, no, little tuck, as they call them. In my head, when you talk about this problem, one of the white men that sort of hovers in my view, like an evil specter, is politicians like John Kennedy, not the one from the 60s, but the one from Louisiana, the Rhodes Scholar, the Ivy League educated, who puts on his thickest, he slathers his tongue in corn pone and does his well, I'll say, boy, I never seen a vagina before, and talks about what I should be doing with my parts. Along with all of his male counterparts. And I know, I know that what I'm saying is not new, but even from a recent experience I had with getting an EKG this week, or ECG this week, I realized that the medical, the hospitals are not on my side. And they're in cahoots with, they're fighting it out with the health insurers to see who can make the most money. And that's not going to change because to me, I think it's going to be very hard. That's a hard ship to stop.
Yeah.
Because both of them are yearning for more and more money. There's greed involved. So that means that there's no reason for them. They have their own sort of, it's a space race, but it's for my cash. Yeah.
It's a business, yeah.
And the politicians are supported by them. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, you feel like it's such a big problem. It's so hopeless. But also, I feel like you should, I always tell women this, and especially when I give talks and when I go and meet women's groups. And I'm giving a talk at Columbia University next month. And what I always say is you start from where you are, right? You don't have to single-handedly resolve the insurance company, but why don't you get not you, just in general, organize women in your community. What I think is really amazing about the American democracy, it's really amazing. It's not like this in other countries. It's really accessible. You can freaking come to Capitol Hill and meet with your lawmaker and lobby. And you should see out in DC. I not only worked on Capitol Hill, I lived there. And you can see certain groups out with their lobbies every day. Gun lobby, pharma lobby, right. But also other lobbyists, I don't know. There's a big thing now. I probably shouldn't say this about some political stuff back home, but there's a big Bangladeshi American lobby. And I'm yes, that's what you got to do. And you know what? You can sponsor a bill. You can show, these things are important. Ellie Smeal, one of my biggest mentors, always used to say in America, to affect and begin cultural change, you have to start with legislation. So really,
absolutely.
We had so many good ones in Build Back Better. I love Biden. I don't know what happened to that. We had a lot of stuff writing in there. And it has to happen, and we have to keep doing it, by the way. You can't just be I tried to do this one thing once. So somebody can sponsor a bill. Why can't we have paid leave? Can we please? Can we just get it? We're one of the only countries in the world. I think it's Somalia, America, and I think even Saudi Arabia.
Don't you tell me to do with what to do with my small business.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do with my small business.
So there's a lot. There's a lot. I also feel increase research in women's health. The standard for health in America is a middle-aged white man. And I really think we need to increase research in women's health, heart disease, menopause, perimenopause. We are more than our uterus, and it really still hasn't clicked in America. I don't know how, because I grew up with America telling Bangladesh what I feel like I'm telling America now, which is listen to women, invest in their rights, give them access to higher paying, flexible jobs. They will choose to have smaller families. give them access to reproductive control. And it's just so funny. I'm like, wait, hello. Like the concept of public health when I was growing up in the 80s in Bangladesh was really introduced by America. Like the State Department has amazing programs, clean water, democracy, women's health is a big part of it. And I just think it's so funny. I'm like, what, do you guys read on materials? They did that.
What you can't see at home, listeners, is me literally, I had my head in my hands. You were saying that about what the State Department was doing for Bangladesh, but not necessarily for here. So, I'm going to try not to be the enormous, large cynic that I am. And I'm going to say, and part of it is living with a teenage son who's like, capitalism is wrong, everything. And he's like his little Marxist self, which hopefully he'll, it's a part of the process. But I'm going to try and be positive and say that we have a lot more female legislators. We have the highest number of female governors in the United States right now that we've ever had.
That's true.
And onwards and upwards. And I guess the lesson I'm taking away is that we really have to start small. Our local governments matter. Our state governments matter. But maybe we should be going straight to our state governments and our state representatives, especially if the Republicans are going to have their evil way for the next couple of years, even though we have but are going to have their evil way and are going to send it all to the state.
Yeah. But we need, it's so interesting because a lot of people are like, maybe we need more women in medicine. Maybe we need more women here. Yes and no. Women aren't always going to be the solution for women's problems. But America does, even though historically high numbers at the moment, one of the lowest numbers of women in government in the world. We got to increase that. We also need to work with a lot of men, like some kind of cultural shifts we need is just to start by believing women, because right now our immediate instinct is to not. So I say in my book, let's just do one radical thing. Let's just believe that woman, give her that CT scan or that test. And the other thing I always say is, I lost my point. Believe women. That we need, we need to stop presenting women's health as a women's issue. It's all of our issue. Everybody wins. When women have their health, we're taking care of yours. My aging parents, God bless them. I mean, I have become their healthcare manager.
Yeah.
And by the way, you meet a lot of resistance as a woman caretaker too. Doctors will be like, do you really? I'm like, listen, my dad needs this scan because he's a smoker for 60 or whatever. They'll be like, do you really? Always go with this is what I also say in the book. Keep your papers with you for your doctor visits, yours, your family members, as much paper trail as you can even give them. All that stuff helps. I also cut doctors a little bit of a break, right? I mean, they don't always know. And people kind of expect them to be magicians. So give them your freaking family history, give them past doctor records, whatever you can to help them. I took my mom to a cardiologist who was very much kind of just like, well, could be stress, could be this. And then I was like, well, this is what her last doctor said. And it changed her treatment, how the doctor interacted with us. It was great. So information for everybody.
What is should be my first line of defense? I find myself in a situation like a medical situation, and I don't feel like I'm being listened to. I brought my papers. How do I?
That's a lot. This happens a lot. And one of the most effective things, I hated writing this in my book, but I did write it. One of the most effective things that women find is when you take a man with you to your doctor's appointment, a friend, a male advocate apparently really helps. They say to take anybody, but women have always said you take a man with you and just reaffirm what you're saying. Apparently is one of the most effective methods to being listened in a medical setting. I think there's a status on it. I hate even telling women this.
Please tell everybody what I'm doing right now. I'm slamming myself in the head with a wooden spoon.
So depressing. But the other thing, which is really interesting, which I thought is, and I say this in my book, is that we view healthcare in America as the doctor. And it really should be viewed as a team effort,
Yep.
And you're the most important member of that team. You're the expert. So if you feel like you're not being listened to, you can also always change your provider, which is something I never knew. I'm like, oh, I always tried to work with shitty doctors, tried to make them like me, believe me. I mean, no, go. It's a pain in the ass, but you can.
In the end, physicians are just human. Many of them are just human. We haven't gotten to AI doctoring yet.
Well, a lot of doctors I interviewed said that even pre-COVID, as a doctor, you could not say, I don't know. They would be like, you suck. Wait, you just pulled out your cookies from the oven. I did. You cheated. Well, you have been talking about racism and sexism and healthcare, my favorite topic. Wait, can I put them on? Do I have to roll them or can I just slap them on the baking thing?
I want you to slap them on just to see what happens. She has one cup. She has 1 cup of dough on her wooden spoon, everybody. And do you have a bake cup? Is your baking sheet covered with something?
No, I thought, do we have to cover it?
Yeah. Is that parchment paper? Yeah. Then put that down. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
and she's going to put a giant cup. No.
I'm trying to make them look like the Levain cookies, Levain.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Maybe I'll just do it a little. Can I save the rest of the dough?
Yes, you can. In fact, it will be better refrigerated.
Oh, okay, good.
And if you're going to just give it a little bit of a smush down, because not too much smushy, and then just put it in the oven. And then I really, really want to see what it's like.
I think these are going to be really good. Okay, I'm making them a little bit smaller. I separated that ball just because your jaw was on the floor.
No, it wasn't. I would like to eat a monster-sized cookie. I am not judgmental as far as the chocolate chip cookie is concerned.
Your face says otherwise. She's like, I'm so nice in the kitchen. You're going to be amazing. And I don't judge. She's like, I'm done. You come sugar. Talk about racism. This is a setup.
Here's some I prepared earlier.
Ina. I'm barefoot in the kitchen. Okay.
At some point and the next time we get together, I want to talk about how to deal with insurance agents and insurance companies, health insurance, because it's
yeah. I think a lot of women are just like, what the F? I mean, I am. I'm just like, what the F is going on? I don't understand anything. And up until like 5 years ago, we were just existing was a pre-existing condition.
Exactly. And now it's even worse condition. I was charged my deductible for which was like somewhere up near $3,000 because it's January. So I was charged my entire deductible because I am blessed. I have the best healthcare I could possibly have. I have I can pay the high deductible. So I'm in the best position an American can be in. Yeah. And they still charged me $2,800 for an ECG when I talked to my Aetna provider and she's like, oh, we only cover 180 typically, but the hospital has the right to charge me my deductible. Mm-hmm. Oh, those are going to be gorgeous. Oh, they really are very nice looking.
I'm very excited. Okay, I made them a little bit smaller. Okay, continue. Oh my God, yeah.
So, but the hospital has the right to do that to make sure that they get their money from me.
Yeah.
And then I'm the one who has to sort out what money I'll get back. I would like to, now that your cookies are in the oven, I would very much tell you that they check them after about 11 minutes and see what they look like. Okay. And maybe even turn the pan around once in the oven to make sure that they cook evenly. They don't just brown on one side. I'd like to end on a bit of a giddy, happy note. As opposed to, you in your latest Substack talked about Malhotra and Advani. And I'd like you to catch everybody who's not been reading your Substack up to speed about this. I'm going to think about his eyes, Malhotra's eyes, and you tell me, you talk to everybody while I'm thinking about his big eyes.
Every South Asian and a Desi person who watches Indian movies is just like, she has lost all credit. She's already making, talking about racism, talking about Bollywood. But, you guys, I know because I talk about really serious, women dying in childbirth. They're all racism. But I am a really huge sucker for love. And I'm not just saying this because it's Valentine's. So this megastar couple in India just got married. They're like the hottest Bollywood couple. But they kind of have had this like incredible love story. And I have just fallen down this deep hole where I am so happy and in love with this couple that I don't know and I've never met. And such a big part of Bollywood is, selling fantasy to the masses. Initially, I wanted to write about, this is so great that they are showing, in a culture where like arranged marriage was such the norm for so long. And, still is in many parts. Like, they're just like, it's such a modern day, like love story and love marriage. But I wanted to write about how we still have so much, like we portray something so different on screen. And then this amazing, beautiful couple is portraying something so different. But we have, huge child marriage issues, huge dowry violence still to this day. And I do have to quickly say that Bangladesh has surpassed India and Pakistan as far as gender equality and so much. So I really wanted to talk about that. But then I was like, what is my problem? Why do I always have to bring violence against women into everything? So I was just like, look at this couple. They're so in love. They're so gorgeous. The song was so heartbreaking. The movie was so sad because he dies, spoiler alert. And then the couple got together in real life. And you just can't help but think that is a otherworldly spiritual connection going on. And instead of being the bride, the Indian bride in all red and gold and decked out to here, she was like in pink Kiara. She came out to their song and she let her, you're supposed to be very demure. I did not have a Bengali wedding. And demure. And she came out, she was dancing to her girl. And she's like, you look hot. And by the way, he is so handsome. I got the funniest email, Marissa. I'm going to save that email from Marissa last night. She was like, I didn't send you the recipe because I started using your Substack. And then the YouTube whole of Indian Bollywood celeb weddings.
But I think, the idea that Bollywood is selling as fantasy is an important statement too, that we need that in our lives because of a lot of what goes on. And
especially now, right? I mean, I think whenever you can find something that, like I was saying the other day, I don't know if you saw the Bennifer memes that came out after the Grammys. It was just funny. It was just so funny. I was like, have people become funnier during the pandemic? Like the memes and the stuff out there is incredible. Comedic genius.
True. Everybody's a comedic genius now. And there are a lot of good ones. It's true.
Yeah. So we need beauty, we need fantasy, and we need laughter. But it was really funny because I just felt like such a teenager. I was like, I'm so in love with this guy.
I took one look at him and I tried to put her out of the picture, even though she looked beautiful and everything. But I just tried to imagine.
I'm really happy for her too, because
all right.
You're damn.
Nice. No.
She's like, no wonder she's like, I'm going to get my lasso on him. But yeah.
It's been a roller coaster of topics here. There's a lot that we have to pay attention to as women.
Yes.
So maybe a little bit of fantasy is just okay. It's just fine.
Yes. And I will also end on pay attention. Watch Bollywood when you can. There's some movies actually streaming, some classics on Netflix. But also women and girls and men too, don't take your rights for granted. And don't ever, as soon as you're thinking, well, that can't happen here or to me, that's when we're in big trouble. And I think people have been saying that for way too long.
Thank you all for tuning into The Secret Life of Cookies. You can find Anushay on Twitter or Instagram, and I highly recommend you subscribe to her truly insightful Substack, Anushay's Point. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram, even if you despise Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, because publishers and others love to see great big followings. Thank you, and have a great week.